Just ahead on the 30-minute news, Philippine President Corazon Aquino survives a coup attempt while President Reagan tries to survive the political fallout over the Iran arms deal. Also ahead, Catskill celebrates its world heavyweight boxing champion, and the weather will give us plenty cause to celebrate if you like rain and slush and mud. It's all next on the 30-minute news.
This is WNYT, Albany. Moskowitz, meteorologist Norm Sebastian, and Rodger Wyland on sports. This is the 30-minute news.
Good evening. Corazon Aquino is still the president of the Philippines. Her government held off a coup attempt, and in an effort to make sure it doesn't happen again, she fired the entire cabinet. Keith Miller reports.
This morning,
appearing on national television, President Corazon Aquino said she dismissed her defense minister after an attempt to overthrow her had been uncovered. Aquino also announced the resignations of her entire cabinet. To her enemies, she issued a warning.
I hereby give notice to all those who may be inclined to exploit the present situation that the sternest measures will be taken against them if they try.
Honestly speaking,
Rafael Ileto was sworn in as the new defense minister, saying his only intention is to protect the president. The purge of the cabinet followed a 7-hour emergency session inside the presidential palace. Troops loyal to Aquino were on maximum alert. Former defense minister Juan Ponce Enrile led the military revolt that ousted Marcos. He is widely believed to be the leader of a rebellious faction within the military that considered Aquino too soft on communism and too hesitant a leader to remain president. Aquino appears to have survived the most serious challenge yet to her authority, and tonight seems in firm control of the country. But the military, which put her in power and now keeps her there, is almost certain to want to play a more prominent role in the way the country is run. Keith Miller, NBC News, Manila.
The White House and congressional leaders have given the Aquino government a strong vote of confidence. Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Richard Lugar says she's the only unifying factor in Filipino politics, and he says shaking up the cabinet gives her a better chance of building a strong government. The Reagan administration may be facing its own shakeup as the controversy caused by the Iranian arms deal will not go away. The Washington Post and Los Angeles Times are both reporting that Secretary of State Shultz, Chief of Staff Reagan, and National Security Advisor Poindexter are on the way out.
The president wasn't talking about any possible shakeup in the White House, but sources close to the Reagans say the First Lady, concerned for her husband after 2 weeks of fierce public criticism, has been on the phone 10 hours a day, calling friends and associates for advice. Sources say President Reagan is being urged by Attorney General Ed Meese and many of his longtime California supporters to get rid of some of his closest advisors as the only way to restore his credibility. Meese kept a low profile at home today, but sources say he's already made some calls to potential candidates. The Washington Post and the Los Angeles Times have both reported that Secretary of State Shultz, National Security Advisor Poindexter, and Chief of Staff Donald Regan are all on the firing line. Both papers reporting that Shultz could be replaced by Secretary of Defense Weinberger, Chief of Staff Regan by former Transportation Secretary Drew Lewis, and according to the Post, National Security Advisor Poindexter by former UN Ambassador Jeane Kirkpatrick. But sources say the person the President and the First Lady are most angry with is Secretary of State Shultz for openly disagreeing with the President's policy. But so far, the President has said he's planning to fire no one, despite increasing criticism on Capitol Hill. Robin Lloyd, NBC News at the White House.
The Iranian arms deal has hurt the president's image among moderate Arab leaders. Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak says Reagan must do something decisive to make up for the damage caused by the Iranian incident.
I'm still asking also the United States to do something so as not to lose its credibility in the Arab world because of such an act.
Mubarak made those comments while wrapping up a two-day summit with Jordan's King Hussein. And Iran may be getting some of its arms from another source, Libya. A British newspaper quotes intelligence sources as saying Libya has obtained Soviet-made nerve gas warheads, and the paper says Libya is shipping some of the warheads to Iran and Syria. The paper did not say how the Libyans got a hold of the weapons. Just ahead, a trip to Tyson Town. If you notice people grinning in Greene County, there's good reason. Catskill is a home of Mike Tyson, the new heavyweight boxing champion of the world. Phil Bailey reports.
George Haley's making adjustments. His sign pays homage to hometown hero Mike Tyson, the future heavyweight champion. But Tyson's future is now. Catskill crowded around its TV sets last night and watched Tyson bring home the championship belt banners downtown beseeched him to.
I think it's the biggest thing that's ever happened in Catskill.
He's our boy. He deserves it. He worked hard.
Tyson captivated his hometown quietly, honing his skills here at the Catskill Boxing Club on the 3rd floor over the police station.
It's over. That's all. And we have a new era in boxing. Mike Tyson caught.
Somehow, Tyson's talent, vested in violence, has come to embody everything good about Catskill.
He's so quiet, so shy, so polite, so nice, but he's so good for the community.
Tyson's hometown has taken to him. Now, all that quiet effort is causing quite a stir in Catskill. Phil Bailey, the 30-Minute News, Catskill.
The Tyson title brought an early Christmas and Thanksgiving to Catskill. There was an early Thanksgiving in Albany today as well. 700 of the city's residents were treated to Thanksgiving dinner by the Knights of Columbus. The free meals were offered to the underprivileged and the elderly at the Council 173 headquarters. About $5,000 worth of donated food was distributed. Larry Davis, a man police consider a suspect in the recent shooting of 6 New York City police officers, has been added to the state's 12 most wanted list of criminals, and Albany police are looking for him. Davis reportedly has relatives in Albany, and officials believe he could have headed upstate to avoid arrest. In addition to the 6 shootings, he's wanted in connection with the murders of 4 people. You may recall the recent escape via helicopter from a California prison. It happened again, this time in Rome, Italy, and this time involving a Red Cross helicopter. Police are searching the area around Rome for the 4 men involved in the daring escape. Authorities say 2 gunmen hijacked the helicopter, then lifted 2 inmates from a prison courtyard. The helicopter flew away amidst gunfire and landed in a soccer field. The escapees then took off in a car. There's no getting away from it. Meteorologist Norm Sebastian is up next. He says we're in store for a wet Monday. Herpes has taken something of a publicity backseat to AIDS recently, but our weekend medical reporter, Dr. Dean Edell, says his sexually transmitted disease is still spreading, and tonight he has some advice for victims.
We used to worry a lot about herpes before AIDS started grabbing headlines. Whatever happened to the herpes virus? You remember cold sores are caused by oral herpes, or herpes type 1. But genital herpes is caused by the herpes type 2 virus. Now, routine laboratory tests have not been able to tell the difference until now. In conjunction with the Center for Disease Control, doctors used a new blood test to go back and study the blood of thousands of individuals from 1978. At age 59, 23% of those people tested positive for antibodies to herpes 2 or genital herpes. 16% of people overall were positive. That's 1978. We don't know what that percent will be when we study blood today. Now, that doesn't mean you have the disease. It's just that at some time or another you were infected with genital herpes. Now, 75% of people will not remember ever catching it. They don't remember ever having genital lesions. A further conclusion of this research may make you even more paranoid. Quote, "These findings bolster the idea that most genital herpes is transmitted by people who don't know that they have the virus." There is some good news. If your partner happens to get an outbreak of genital herpes, that does not mean they have been unfaithful. You can have an outbreak of a virus that has been latent in your body for decades that you don't even remember catching. Pregnancy, increased body temperature, the stress of surgery, or genital trauma from horseback riding or bicycling can all trigger genital herpes outbreaks. So talk to your doctor first before the divorce lawyer. I'm Dr. Dean Edell.
For more information about any Dr. Edell medical report, you can write to us here at Channel 13, but please include a stamped, self-addressed envelope. Well, it's that time of year again where I don't even mind when it's that cloudy, just as long as it's not 35 below zero with 8 feet of snow.
That's strange because you walk out today and it really felt nice around noontime. You come back and see the temperature is only 40.
Compared to the overnight lows of late, that's not bad.
No, it felt pretty good. We have some nice weather coming up, kind of. It's not the best, but it certainly could be worse, as Joe was pointing out. 4 inches above normal in the snowfall department so far in November. No snow in the forecast, though, except for the possibility of a few flurries tomorrow afternoon. Let's see what happened today, though. 46 and 17, no snow around. 44 and 28 is what we should have at this time of year, so our low temperature is just a little too low, but that won't happen tonight. Cloudy, 45 degrees, 42 is a dew point, 90% on the relative humidity, which means the temperature is not going to drop off much more tonight, and helping that wind to, or at least helping the temperature to stay up, is a wind out of the southeast at 12. The barometer continues to fall. Precipitation just a trace at the Albany County Airport, and that is just started raining out the airport in the last hour. Sunrise and sunset time 6:57 and 4:26. 11 o'clock temperatures around the state were quite mild, especially as we're pointing out if you compare them to what we've had the last few nights. With 40 as a general rule, 36 at Glens Falls, New York is the coldest temperature, and you can see that we have some warmer readings in southern New England, and especially as you look westward as southerly winds continue to bring up the warm air to the south. Of course, is always one that doesn't conform to the norm, 39 out there at Bradford, Pennsylvania. Light rain all over the place, cloudy skies here. If we can go to the Albany County Airport, the National Weather Service radar, we have a time lapse, and you can see in just a second, this is about 2 hours ago, you can see all the light rain continuing to spread from Schenectady up to Glens Falls and also down the Hudson Valley all the way to New York City. And it should remain light tonight as well as into tomorrow. So again, if you're heading out in the morning, you probably need the umbrella, but certainly it will not be a washout. 5 o'clock satellite picture, there were a few breaks around, but certainly as of 10 o'clock, we've just about filled those all in, and we just have a weak frontal system making its way from the west. Behind it, that front, slightly cooler air, but certainly not frigid. The real cold air sitting up here in central Canada, and quite a bit of showers and thunderstorms across the southern sections of the Mississippi Valley today. There's that front we're talking about, and the chilly air behind it. Another record-breaking day today. Sitting out there in Florida, 95 in Fort Myers, Florida, smashed the old record of 86 set back in 1976. And what kind of weather they've had down there, it doesn't even feel like winter is coming. Certainly with 80s and 90s, the norm down there the last few days. Now you head to the north, you can find cooler readings, 30s and 20s. I think tomorrow we'll look for 40s and 50s here, but then the cooler weather will spill in here and for the latter part of the week. It's not looking too bad. We have another storm coming in Wednesday, and then we'll look for a dry Thanksgiving. Holds out. Forecast reads like this. For tonight, we'll have cloudy skies, light rain and showers. They've already developed, so we can get rid of the AM if it hasn't started where you are, 40 to 45. Tomorrow, we'll have showers and light rain in the morning, but it will turn cooler and dry up in the afternoon, 40 to 45 for highs. So the temperature is going nowhere, folks. Mostly clear and chilly tomorrow night, 19 to 24. And as we head into Monday or Tuesday, sunny and cool, 38 to 43. Showers come back in late Wednesday, and Thanksgiving Day, again, as long as everything holds together, and I think it will, we'll have afternoon sun and, well, cool temperatures. Again, it could be worse. If you haven't entered our snow contest yet, if you think you know when the first 6 inches of snow falls at the Albany County Airport, you could win 2 sets of skis, not 1, 2. Bindings and poles included from the Phoenix Ski Shop. This is what you have to do to enter. Send us a self-addressed postcard with your name, address, and phone number, the exact date and time of the first 6-inch snowfall at the airport. 1 entry per person, and all entries must be postmarked by November 30th or before the event, and send it to WNYT TV, P.O. Box 4035, Albany, New York. And if you've heard that somewhere before, it's probably because you tune in at 6.
Or at 6:11 sometime over the past month or so. Still ahead on the 30-minute news. We'll have more with Bob McNamara on last night's victory by Mike Tyson, and Rodger Wyland has all the highlights and scores from Week 12 of the NFL season. Stay with us. And here's Rodger. What you got for us? Junior high school field hockey scores?
A little bit bigger than that.
A little bit bigger.
Yeah. Did you ever hear of Mike Tyson?
Yeah. Did
you like to feel his left hook?
No, maybe for $1.5 million. Probably wouldn't kill me. Hurt me a lot, though.
Spinks may get a chance to feel that. You know, after watching Tyson tear Berbick to shreds last night, you must wonder what guys like Tim Witherspoon, Tony Tubbs, and even Michael Spinks think about this 20-year-old sensation. So with more on that topic, here's Bob McNamara.
In the wake of this incredibly quick victory over Trevor Berbick, Mike Tyson will take himself to Brazil now for a short vacation and then turn his attention toward the winner of the WBA title bout between Tim Witherspoon and Tony Tubbs. In the eyes of many ring experts, no big deal, though. Many feel at the end of this heavyweight tournament, Mike Tyson pre-ultimately will be looking at Michael Spinks. If he beats him, he'll have it all.
I'm gravely concerned about Michael Spinks. I think he's enormously talented. I think he's elusive, and it's a quality that Tim Witherspoon and Tony Tubbs, in my opinion, those two fighters don't have that elusive quality which makes Michael Spinks very difficult to fight.
I don't know how I will do. I don't know just how I'll do with him until I fight him, but I'll give it all I got.
Of course, before that can happen, Tyson has to beat the WBA champion. But there is nobody, at least who we were able to find, who truly believes that won't happen. This is Bob McNamara, 13 Sports in Las Vegas.
All right, now you think Tyson's for real? I think the Giants are for real. Here we are, 12 weeks into the NFL season, and the Giants are tied for first place in the NFC's Eastern Division. Not even the Broncos could dent their defense. Early in the game, they were knocking at the door, and then big George Martin and his big claws came up and made a heck of an interception on this pass by Elway. 78 yards later, he was in the end zone, and New York led 14-6 at the half. Tough, though, to keep a team like Denver out of the end zone. Here's Sammy Widener on the pitch, scored and tied the game at 16-16. But just like last week, Phil Simms, who is so often criticized for his passing, comes through again. McConkey hauled in the 36-yarder, setting up for the second week in a row the winning field goal from Raul Alegre. You know, he has kicked 9 field goals in the last couple of weeks. Giants won today, 19-16. They were hoping Dallas would help them out and beat Washington. Not a chance. Redskins embarrassed the Cowboys today, 41-14. George Rodgers busted loose here. The Skins went ahead 14-0. Quarterback Jay Schrader, he had a couple of touchdown passes, and the Skins in front of the hometown fans looking good, pounding Dallas 41-14. Both the Giants and the Skins have identical 10-2 records. Are 7-5. Now, over in the AFC East, the Jets currently own that division. What are they, 10-1? The Patriots, though, aren't about to make it easy, Norm. Hang in there. They're charging against Buffalo today. Craig James put his club ahead 9-0, but the Bills, who haven't won on the road in 22 starts, came back, took the lead. Jim Kelly connected with Rob Riddick on the slant pattern. It was 19-15 Bills, but less than 2 minutes to go. And Tony Eason goes to the rookie tight end, Greg Beatty, for the game winner, 22-19. New England has won now 6 straight, and their record currently stands at 9-3. Miami at 5-6 will host the Jets tomorrow night. Now, in the NFC Central, the Bears are 10-2. No matter what your feelings are for Jim McMahon, and he's not one of my favorites, this is one of the cheapest shots I have seen in a long time. The whistle is blown. Charles Martin of the Packers slams McMahon to the ground, totally uncalled for. Martin obviously ejected. Luckily, McMahon not seriously injured. As for the game, the Bears needed this block punt by Sean Gale and a field goal late by Kevin Butler to beat the hapless Packers 12-10. Now, there were a couple of surprises in the NFL today. St. Louis beat Kansas City 23-14. The Chiefs now 7-5, and they may not make the playoffs. Neil Lomax was the story in St. Louis today. He tossed 3 touchdown passes. 2 of those went to J.T. Smith. Elsewhere, Bernie Kosar, career-high 414 yards. Cleveland beat the Steelers in overtime 37-31. Eric Dickerson, another big afternoon, 116 yards. The Rams knocked off the Saints 26-13. Elsewhere around the league in Cincinnati, the Bengals scored the first 2 touchdowns against the Vikes, and then they held on to win 24-20. Stanley Wilson ran for 2 touchdowns. And in San Francisco, Joe Montana had an easy day in beating the Atlanta Falcons 20-0. Here is one of his touchdown passes in that game. Onto the scoreboard, Detroit handled Tampa Bay. Yeah, the Colts, nothing new. They're still winless. Houston 31-17. And Seattle outscored Philadelphia 24-20. One other item in sports, rookie guard Michael Jackson from Georgetown, who arrived in Albany on Friday to try out for the Patroons, has left town, and the Patroons said the reason was personal, but with all the talent that they have this year, I don't think they will miss Jackson.
Well, based on what he did in college, I don't know how you can not miss a player like that.
Yeah, well, You ought to see the talent the Patroons have, or at least Phil Jackson says they've got lots of talent this year. We'll see. The season starts December 5th.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. I will see that.
You will.
Just ahead, Christmas comes early for the post office. Have you finished your Christmas shopping? Have you started it? You should. That way you can heed the annual request from the Postal Service to mail early. Steve Scoville reports.
Ever wonder where those yellow forwarding labels come from? Well, they come from a computer. Bulk business mail gets special treatment here, and while letter carriers carry out the tedious job of secret mail in order of the homes they stop at, other machines read zip codes and print out special bars for automatic sorting. This facility has the distinction of being the largest automatic mail processing site in all of upstate New York. And to understand why, consider this. It processes 3 million pieces of mail every day. These employees are reading zip codes at the rate of 1 a second, and they shuttle the mail off to the proper bin. But with technology comes even more new machines, like this flat sorter, where 4 people can do the job it used to take 15 to do. Still, with millions of pieces of mail coming through here, mail early in the season isn't the only message.
Help us by mailing early in the day. We are putting on extra collection runs so that we will get the mail in here and get it processed out before the big rush of mail hits us. And by doing that, we can get it on the planes and fly into their destinations earlier in the day.
Steve Scoville, the 30-Minute News, Albany.
And if you mail tomorrow, you won't even have to lick your own stamps. Nature will provide the moisture, right, Norm?
That's right. Joe, you know, we were talking before about some weather facts. I had one on our chart, on our map up here.
No.
But if you think we're having trouble with the snow earlier this week. 1943 in northern New Hampshire, Randolph and Berlin, New Hampshire both had over 50 inches of snow in 2 days. So, you know, we have it easy.
Yeah.
Next couple of days, a little bit of light rain, but certainly no travel problems.
Okay. Hope those folks in Randolph and Berlin, they've got over that.
They're still digging out.
Yeah, 23 years. Ooh, 43 years.
Besides football, not much else happening today. I do have a score from the NBA, though. Philadelphia, Sixers 114, 104 over the Houston Rockets.